Hey everyone, welcome back. You may call me Firedrake, and today's video is all about Cruel Summer Season 1 Episode 6, An Ocean Inside Me. I absolutely loved Sarah Drew's performance as Cindy Turner in this episode, so I'm excited to talk about it. But first, I'll recap the episode by year. Let's get started. The events that are about to unfold take place on approximately August 15th, 1993, 1994, and 1995. This is a little over 2 weeks after they had the county fair. Jeanette and Derek made breakfast for their parents. Today is their anniversary, and when they get to the table, they're all smiles. The family toasts to a lifetime of more anniversaries. Jeanette goes to the mall with her friends, and Vince is trying to convince them to go see the newest Friday the 13th movie. Sneaking into a movie is on their summer bucket list, but it's at number 14. Mallory reminds them that stealing is number 13 on the list. Jeanette mentions that everything Mallory added to their list is illegal, but Mallory tells them that her cousin told her stealing from large corporations is a victimless crime because shrinkage is already included in their budgets. And all I can think of during this scene is these kids really need to be back in school right now. Once they get inside the store, Klepto Mallory is removing sensors from clothing in the dressing room while Jeanette plays lookout. Tennille Peterson's mom, Tanya, works in the store and she is right outside of the fitting room, but she's distracted by Martin Harris. He's trying on a suit and she is all over him, being super flirtatious. Then she asks him if they can discuss PTA business over dinner and tells him she'll pick him up from his place at 6. The girls rush out and get away with stealing clothes. They go to meet back up with Vince, but a store alarm goes off right as he leaves the music store. Mallory tells them to run, but Jeanette snatches the stolen CD out of Vince's hand and tells him to run. Jeanette stayed behind to take the fall, while Vince and Mallory ran away. And I'm wondering how this guard didn't notice that this little black boy turned into a little white girl, but okay. Security catches Jeanette and takes her to a waiting room while they call her parents. Jamie is sitting in the holding area. He laughs in disbelief when he sees Jeanette and asks her what she's in there for. She says shoplifting, and he calls her a hardened criminal. Jamie tells her he got busted for jumping in the fountain. He did it because someone dared him. She says, "I'm Jeanette," and Jamie says, "Yeah, I remember." Then he says, "You don't usually get into much trouble, do you?" And Jeanette says, "I make trouble. I just usually don't get caught." He leans over and asks what kind of trouble, but then Greg walks in to pick Jeanette up. Greg asks Jeanette what happens, and she tells him it was Mallory's idea. When he tells her to stop blaming others, she tells him the truth and lets him know that she covered for Vince because they always have each other's back, and he would have done the same for her. Greg agrees not to tell Cindy because Cindy would call Vince's grandparents, and they don't want Vince to get in trouble. So Mr. Turner's the cool dad in 93. When Jeanette gets home, Vince comes by and asks why she covered for him. She tells him that she knew her dad would go easy on her. Jeanette says it was kind of cool doing something she wasn't supposed to, but Vince disagrees and tells her his stealing days are over, but he really did want that CD. Jeanette asks Vince if he notices how Mallory pressures them into doing things, but Vince doesn't want to talk behind Mallory's back. Later that evening, Jeanette breaks into Martin's house. Oh my gosh, Jeanette, why? Why do you have to keep doing this? I guess she went back to Martin's house to steal a CD for Vince, because when she gets there, she goes through Martin's CDs and she finds one to steal, but then we hear Martin and Tanya walk into the house. Jeanette hides in the media closet. Martin and Tanya sit on the couch and she's being very forward. She rubs his thigh, then begins telling him about her ex and how he pays child support for Tennille, but he's not Tennille's real dad. Martin tells her that he doesn't need to know something that personal about his students, and I agree. Then Jeanette accidentally bumps the stereo inside of the closet. Martin walks towards the closet, but then Tanya finds the remote to the stereo between the sofa cushion and says she must have just sat on it. Then Martin walks away from the closet and heads toward the kitchen to get a towel to wipe up some wine that they spilled. While he's gone, Tanya opens the closet and sees Jeanette. When she asks what she's doing in there, Jeanette says, "I won't tell what you said about Tennille." Tanya says, "I didn't see you and you didn't see me." Then she tells Jeanette to hurry out of there. And that that's everything we got in 93 for this episode. Let's move on to 1994. On Greg and Cindy's anniversary in 94, Jeanette and Derek can hear their parents arguing in another room. When they come out, Greg grabs a cup of coffee and Cindy answers the front door. She comes back with a gift basket and she thinks it's from Greg, but when she reads the card it says, "Thank you for setting me up with the perfect home," and it's from Angela. The next scene is at the Peterson household and Tanya walks into Neil's room and tell her that Jeanette's calling again. Tennille and Renee are avoiding Jeanette, but Tanya is annoyed because in 94 they're still on dial-up internet, so Jeanette's calls keep booting Tanya offline. Tanya tells Tennille to clean up because her friends are coming over to watch her interview tonight. Meanwhile, back at the Turner residence, Cindy is home alone dealing with prank callers who keep calling to harass Jeanette. She starts snooping through Jeanette's room and finds a key taped underneath Jeanette's jewelry box. When Jeanette gets in, Cindy tells her she needs to speak with her. She tells her that she needs to ask a question and no matter what the answer is, she'll be there for her. She asks Jeanette if she's ever been inside of Martin's house and if there's any truth to the rumors. Jeanette says no and tells her mom that the calls are really getting to her. I really wish Jeanette would have used this opportunity to tell her mom the truth about the key. We still don't know for sure if she saw Kate, but she still should have told her mom the truth when her mom asked her if she's ever been in Martin's house. Cindy calls Greg to come home from work. When he walks in, she tells him Jeanette is lying. She shows him the key and tells him she thinks it's the key to Martin Harris's house. She knows that Jeanette is somehow involved with all of this mess with Kate, and she wants to get to the bottom of it. Greg doesn't think there's a problem. He believes Jeanette, and he tells Cindy he has to get back to work for a showing. After Greg leaves, Cindy cleans the kitchen and Derek comes in to raid the cabinets for snacks to take to his dorm. She tries to talk to Derek about the situation with Jeanette, but he doesn't feel comfortable discussing it. He suggests that she calls Aunt Susan because he's not good with this stuff. I think Derek just doesn't want to hear that his sister is lying because he believes her. Meanwhile, Jeanette heads over to see Vince while he's at work in the video store. She walks in on Ben flirting with Vince. After Ben leaves, Vince asks Jeanette to pretend she didn't see it. Jeanette tells him they can pretend it didn't happen, but he seems really happy with Ben. Vince tells her he is happy. They sit on the floor behind the register talking, and Jeanette tells him how her mom's been acting weird. He tells her if it makes her feel better, she'll always have him, and they vow to have each other's backs forever. Then Tennille and Renee walk in. Jeanette tells them she's been calling them, and they tell her they know they have caller ID. Tanya's interview comes on the TV, and they all watch. Tanya tells the reporter that Martin was forceful with her when they were alone last year at his house. She also says he wanted to sleep with her, and she could have been in the same situation as Kate. Jeanette unintentionally blurts out she's lying. Tennille and Renee immediately start defending Tanya and talking about Jeanette and her mom. Vince tells them it's time to go. Jeanette calls her brother to pick her up. When her brother gets there, she tells him that she feels alone and doesn't want him to leave, but he has to leave for college. Later that evening, when Greg comes home, Cindy tells him how she sacrificed having the career of her dreams and he didn't take her seriously, but she won't allow him to do the same with this situation with Jeanette. She tells him that since her suspicions of Jeanette weren't enough for him to take her seriously, he should go to Martin's house and try the key for himself. Cindy is upset that Greg needs proof to take her seriously. She tells him that she is going to her sister's house for a while because she feels lonely without his support in this situation with Jeanette. Cindy tried the key earlier that day, so she knows it belongs to Martin's house. Later in the evening, Greg tries the key, so he knows the truth too. Maybe that's why he made that comment to Jeanette in the last episode in 1995 about her not hurting a fly as far as he knows. In 1995, Jeanette is watching home videos of her family when Angela walks in. Jeanette obviously misses having everyone in the same household, but when she talks to Angela, she only admits to missing her dad. The doorbell rings and it's Jeanette's lawyer, and she says they have a problem. Miss Harper tells them that Kate's lawyers are deposing Tennille Peterson's mother, Tanya, at her request. and she claims to have damning information. Jeanette tells them that she has worse dirt on Tanya than Tanya has on her, so she doesn't think this will be a problem. Later in the afternoon, Vince comes by to check on Jeanette, and they feel awkward because they haven't hung out in a while. But Jeanette is about to head out. She asks Vince to distract the reporters who are camped outside while she sneaks out the back. Jeanette goes to the store that Tanya works at and basically tells Tanya that the things she thinks she knows about her is hearsay. But what she knows about Tennille is a provable fact, so she should be careful about what she tells Kate's lawyers. When she gets back home, Angela asks if she's dating anyone. Then she tells her that when a boy waits all day for her to get home, he must really like her. Jeanette laughs and tells Vince what Angela said. Angela tells them that she thinks they'd be great together, and Vince says, "No, Jeanette's like my sister." Then Angela leaves for work. Greg walks in while Jeanette and Vince are sitting back eating popcorn. Greg apologizes to Jeanette for being distant. He tells her that he thought she wanted space. He joins Jeanette and Vince in a card game. Then the phone rings. It's the lawyer. She tells Jeanette that Tanya didn't give them any new information. Meanwhile, Cindy walks into the bar that Angela works at and orders a Cosmo. She tells her that it's her anniversary, but then she says, "You probably know that already, right, Angela?" That's when Angela realizes she's talking to Greg's ex. Angela tells her she doesn't do catfights. Cindy tells Angela she's not there for a catfight. Derek told her where she works, and she's just dying to know how Jeanette is doing. Derek still speaks to Cindy, but he's out of the house. Jeanette's not taking her calls because she blames her mom for the separation. Cindy asks Angela to have a drink with her. After talking for a while, they realize that they have some things in common and they like each other. Cindy says she's glad that they can sit together and bond, and Angela says, "Well, it's not like I stole your husband, you left him, so." Then Cindy interrupts and says, "Wait, hold on, is that what he told you?" And that's where the episode ends. My thoughts on this episode. We finally got to see what happened to Jeanette's mom. She found out that her daughter was lying. She tried to talk to her. Then she tried to get Greg to understand that they needed to approach Jeanette as a team, and she eventually got fed up because this wasn't the first time that Greg brushed Cindy off when it came to something important to her. He didn't take her career goals seriously, and this whole situation is just unfortunate. You can see how they both feel like they're doing the right thing. Greg feels he's supposed to stick by his daughter no matter what, but he's also in denial. I think Cindy's approach would have been better. They both could have told her that they both tested the key, and that would have left her no choice but to confess. But these two just couldn't get on the same page. They both obviously loved their daughter. Cindy didn't tell on Jeanette when she learned the truth, and Greg didn't either. He hired a lawyer. And Cindy sat down with the woman who basically took her place, and she sat with her just to find out how her daughter's been. So they both love their daughter. Derek and Vince never left Jeanette's side, and Angela is also an ally. I hope Jeanette will start to acknowledge and appreciate the support she has instead of continuing to keep track of all of the negativity from outsiders. This might be my favorite episode so far. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in episode 7.